everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about this new project that's come up, Opengrep. Now if you haven't heard of Opengrep, Opengrep is essentially a fork of Semgrep. Semgrep is open source software that's run by the company Semgrep and really comprises of like two main areas. It's a static code engine that's really good at being able to analyze large code bases for patterns, so pattern matching. And then they also have an open source rule set that goes with that engine. So you can create your own rules, and there's a whole bunch of rules that have been created by the community, by different vendors, by different people that has been open sourced. And this is kind of going to be an interesting discussion about the future of open source and really what it means to have an open source project. Semgrep have really been a cornerstone in open source software, especially in security, since 2017. Now, they were founded from MIT, and they were really founded on this idea of having open source software for developers. And as recently as 2022, their co-founder, Luke O'Malley, was quoted saying that this is like a big breakthrough of Semgrep. That's an open source project that's by developers for developers. But it would appear over the last several years that Semgrep's policy, or at least attitude towards open source, has shifted quite a bit. Now, there's been lots of little indications of this. Their open source cores have not been as heavily maintained. There's been lots of upgrades that have been released on the commercial versions of Semgrep, but not on the open source versions. And recently, there's been what I would consider the final nail in the coffin for the direction of open source for Semgrep, and that is that they've done some pretty big policy changes that's really restricting who can use the open source software and in what scenarios they can use it. This is actually a bigger issue than it may sound. So a lot of people might think license issue, so what? Well, there's been several other license issue changes with big open source projects, and we can kind of see what happened to it. One is Elasticsearch, which essentially killed the Elasticsearch kind of open source community there a lot from it when they did a big license change. And AWS actually stepped up to the plate and created OpenSearch, which was a fork of Elasticsearch, so that could continue going. The other one was Terraform, very similar, massive license change, affected who could use Terraform, so therefore OpenTofu was created to try and fill that gap. I think the concerns about license changing is really reflected well in the manifesto that was written about the changes of Terraform and why OpenTofu was created. And that is that this sort of change also harms all similar open source projects. For every company and every developer now needs to think twice before adopting and investing in an open source project in case the creator suddenly decides to change the license. And I think this captures the essence of it, right? Is that open source is all about being open, it's about the community, but how can you be confident in committing to something, in investing time, investing resources, particularly as a company, if someone else has the power to change the license? And what I love about this Opengrep project, and something that I think is really cool, and I hope this gets replicated more, is that Opengrep isn't a fork by a company, like OpenSearch was a fork from AWS. Opengrep is actually a collaboration of 8 competing security vendors, and they're pushing towards making it into a foundation to really democratize the open source community. And what this means is it means that one company can't be influenced by their investors or whatever to try and restrict access to this, to try and push more to the commercial products. And I think this is really exciting. And not only that, we also have 8 companies that are going to commit resources to it to maintain it. So there's no big burden on the community to kind of keep maintaining this. We actually do have some heavy wallets that are able to keep up with it. So there it is. That's my thoughts about Opengrep. I'm really excited to see where this project goes. I want to give a quick shout out to all of the companies that are involved in alphabetical order. They are Aikido Security, Arnica, Amplify, Endor Labs, Orca Security, Mob, Codim, Legit Security, and there's a few more that are almost certain to come on, but they haven't been announced yet, so I can't say their names. If you want to check out Opengrep, then you can do so at the link below. Check out its GitHub repository. And if you want to stay up to date with some things about Opengrep, then subscribe to the channel. I'll be sure to bring them to you. And I personally can't wait to see the direction of this open source project and hopefully the influence it will have on maybe changes in the open source community